What's going on, coaches? Coach Korea. We're gonna switch lanes here with this vlog today, and we're gonna talk some defense. I'm a little excited to do this because for the first time, pretty much ever, after my 18th or this is my 19th season coaching, I've never really given a presentation on defense, and it's not because I love defense. Let's get that out the way first and foremost. And I've grown to love it more the more involved in development and research of the whole process. I felt for years our defense was good, but it was never where it could be because of my shortcomings. But like I said, through years of research and development, this was a defense that was very good to us. We called it the multiple 50 stack. This is the first defense I started with way back when in 2002. And I'm kind of going to walk you through the process of to where we finished with it up to a couple years ago, where I had to evolve as a coach and get more into the pro style stuff with two high safeties and all that. But this was my starting point. And we ran this defense for a good 15, 16 years at a high level where it won us a lot of games, brought us to a lot of championships, and we were even lucky enough to win a couple of those. The defense is it was started as a 5-3, but I noticed quickly the limitations of the 5-3, and we had to start to do other things to be able to defend a lot of the things people were trying to do as the years went on. So let's just get right into the presentation. This is going to be the intro to the multiple 50 stack. I'm going to go over the intro at first, and then we're going to get into the first part of it, which is the D-line play. We're going to build this thing from inside out. Again, with the focus on a young coach looking for a starting point defensively, I'm going to give you a whole system that has been proven on grass at a high success rate. And also, this is a defense I've given other coaches that believe in my teachings and has worked for them at a high level. So it's worked from every level, from 7 up to 16, and it's worked at a high level and it's been tested at grass. So why the multiple 50 stacks? Number one, it creates confusion because of the alignment in nature with these people being stacked in the inside, as you can see here with our box 6. It all starts with our box 6. Our box 6, we stack them because there's all types of things we're able to get to. And I think it makes it hard on those O-linemen to know who to block with the movement. If you're going to run an odd front, you have to understand, yes, it can be a two-gap odd front or it can be a movement front. I would prefer the movement front because we could get it done with lesser athletes. Because the nature of the alignment of the stack, there's a whole bunch of elements of surprise. So that was a strong reason, a selling point to me when I started getting into this stuff many moves back. It allows us to be aggressive because we could get a lot of athletes on the field and we could just take the chess match right out of it because of the aggressive nature of the defense. It creates turnovers because we get a lot of free runners to the football. We're able to put a lot of pressure on people. With that and the cover 1 and cover 3 behind it, it just puts us in a good position with a lot of pressure, and it makes us able to defend things easier on the backside. So we're expecting to get a lot of our front 3 and second level 3. The core of the defense is this stack. But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself and off the topic. It's simple to install and execute. That's another selling point, at least for me. I believe in simplicity, and with simplicity comes being efficient and confident. It's just like the eye or the hybrid wing or anything that I'm going to tell you offensively. We believe in it 1,000%. So we're going to live and die in it, and we're going to make the adjustments necessary to make the defense successful. It's your standard 8-man defense, but it has, 8 in a box type defense, but it's multiple in nature. And as you see, as we start moving pieces around, you'll see how multiple we make it. But like I said, this is just the intro, and we're going to start with D-line play today. Today, we're just going to focus on these three guys right here, our nose and 2 ends. You could call them tackles. You could call them ends. It doesn't matter. You could call this guy a tackle, whatever you want to call him. It doesn't matter. Anchor, rush, whatever. For generic purposes and how we view it, This is our head up 2 ends, 5 technique ends, or 4 technique ends, and a head up nose. All right, we're going to get into our alignments versus techniques. Our alignments is how we line up. So in this scenario here, we have 2-4 techniques. Head up on the tackles. Now, depending on the alignment is going to dictate the technique, if that makes sense. So if we're head up, more than likely that's going to be a man key for us. So if we know we're in a head up alignment, a base alignment, we know we're going to key the man right over us, okay? If we're in a shade alignment, we have a ball key, meaning we're going to play through the neck of the man we're over and look for the ball. We're never going to just play stagnant and stay lateral. No, we're going to be moving up the field to a yard deep. We never want to get deeper than a yard deep, but the techniques may change. So it's alignment versus techniques. Our alignments are going to tell us where to line up, and it's also going to tell us the technique we're going to play, if that makes sense. Our personnel, I just explained it to you, it's the nose and 2 ends. In a perfect world, we would like our nose to be a bigger guy, a strong guy that can control both A-gaps, but depending on your personnel, that's going to tell you how to play the defense. So in most cases, we're not going to get that guy, so we're going to be a movement team. So you might want to play with a little smaller guy. Either way, you want your nose to be the best of the 3, if possible, in a perfect world. Our ends, we want rangier guys that can run a little faster. They don't have to be as heavy. They need to be a little more athletic because we're trying to get speed on the field. Now, if you're in a situation where you need to get more beef on the field, the defense lends itself to that. So that's the huge deal with the guys inside. We would like a bigger, stronger guy here that has the ability to 2-gap but not predicated on 2-gap. And we would like little rangier guys here, more athletic. Could be a little more athletic looking. They don't have to be as big and heavy. So there's the flexibility in the defense. We're going to get into the key progression. The key progression is for the nose. The nose is always going to key the triangle to the football. You know, through the quarterback to the football nearest back, whatever, however you want to look at that. There's a triangle here. Let me just draw it up for you to understand. So he's going to read, the nose is going to read this triangle here. So that means the quarterback to the nearest back to the football. It's all in that triangle. That nose, the reason he has to be the tougher, more bigger guy, probably your better guy, because he's going to have to defeat blocks from everywhere. He's going to have to take on double teams. They're going to try they'll try to get underneath him and wham him, kick him out. There's all types of things the nose has to be ready for. The only time he's truly going to be in a 2-gap if he gets a straight drive block from the center, and then he's got to play through his head. But for the most part, we want the nose to try to demand 2 blockers because that's going to free up the rest of the defense. So the nose man's key progression is the triangle to the football, point blank. Our ends key progression. If they're in a head-up alignment, they're in their man key, which means they are going to play through the man into the run alley, which would be here. Through the man into the run alley. Then to the football. So it's 3-part to the man, run alley, ball. Man, run alley, ball. Man, run alley, ball. Same thing. I like to look at it as a triangle as well, but I don't want to confuse you guys. So there you'll start to see the symmetry of the defense. Their stance. Their stance is a very pivotal part to the whole operation. Your nose, you want them more nose to nose, head up, preferably a 4-point stance where he could get off into that man. Not only can he get off into him, he could rip him either way when we're in our movement part of the progression. But we want the nose in a head-up, 4-point, even-toe stance, no stagger, ready to uncoil through the center or uncoil into him and rip left or right. Our DNs, they want to be in a balanced stance. They want to have a very flat back and a slight stagger with their inside hand and foot. Slight stagger, toe-to-heel relationship. Why? I feel, in my opinion, it's easier for them to move left or right with that slight stagger. And it also puts them in a better position if they have to play through that tackle. It gives them a better chance to get in there with that lead step. You know, the quick 6-inch power step. Same as offense, but a little different. So their stance, we want a flat back. We want a slight stagger. Let me see what part of the board. I'm going to draw the stick man up for you guys to see. We would like something like that, if you can see that. Okay? With a slight stagger of the inside foot. I'm no artist, but I'll try to get it as right as I can. Okay? Flat back. We want Z's in the Z's in the knees, a Z in the hip, knees, and ankles. That way we could fire out using the lower part of our body. Again, same thing as offense is going to pertain to defense. We're going to create our power from the ground. Everything gets built from the ground up. We have to be able to fire off using the ground to gain us the advantage we need. To finish with force, you have to start with force. Force starts with your stance and your feet. Everything boils down to the feet, and we build everything from the ground up. So their stance is just as important in offense. It's a much different stance. Offense, you know, that was the last. I don't want to get into that because I'm going to confuse myself. It's a much different stance. Defensive stance is more compact, a little more narrow. We want to be able to uncoil into folks and get off the football. The whole key to the defense, especially for the front three, is getting off the football. So a stance is very important. I'm not a great artist, but that's the best illustration I can give you of it. Flat back, we want a Z in the power angles, and we want to be able to use our lower extremities to fire off the football. Bottom line. The way you put your hand in the ground is very important, too, while we're on this subject. You want to get all 5 tips into the ground, almost like with a pinch with your inside fingers. That little pinch there allows you to use the ground to kind of pull yourself to where you're going. Whether you're slanting to the tight end of the way, it kind of gives you enough leverage to get going and get up in there square. Now, another huge part of D-line play, in my opinion, is no matter what's going on, we want to stay square. Once we start seeing what's going on, whether we're going to rip outside or inside, stay square. Take away the gap. Fight pressure with pressure. If we get in a down block here on the nose and he feels him posting up and he's getting pressure from the side, try to fight into that double team and flatten out and restrict the hole. So staying square is a huge part of that. Now, if you get put on skates, you got to drop and try to create a pile. We can't give them ground up front. If you feel you're getting put on roller skates, you got to drop your hip and your shoulders and just try to take 2 for 1 in that deal and create a pile. And let the linebackers that are filling, you know, handle their assignment. So these are all little key parts to defensive line play that I think are very important. Alignments versus technique, the personnel, our key progression for the nose and the ends, which I went over, our stance, what I just went over. Now we're going to get into the movement. So I'm going to erase all of this so we can understand how we're moving. Because the key to the eye front, to me, is the movements. Whether you're a 2-gap team or a 1-gap attack, which we're gonna build this as a 1-gap attack. Now, there's times the 2-gap, but that's per game plan and teams week to week, in my opinion. So we're going to approach it with our base movements and how we start to build the defense. We'll just keep a generic, assume there's a tight end. All right, so in our base, it's going to be 2 4s, 4, 0, 4. Okay? We're in a head-up technique. Now, when you line up head-up, you can either be a 2-gap or a movement team. We're a movement team. So the first movement our guys need to know in our base 4 and 4 alignment is what we call jacks. Jacks means he's a C-gap player. He's a C-gap player. Per whatever the call, he's 1 gap the other. Mike always going to step and stack off of him. So that's another conversation, not right now. So there's our jacks base alignment. Now, if you don't hear open, closed, or pitch, you know you're always jacks. It's built into the system. So that's our base alignment, where they're C-gap responsible. So they'll play through their man, knowing they want to take off, take care of this C-gap. It's very important that they play outside arm and leg free. Meaning when we step, we want to step. If we got to push with the outside hand, it's because we want to flip our hips over there. So they want to push and pull and make sure they flip their hips into that C-gap in the base alignment. Nose is going to play whatever A, depending on the game call. He's got the A-gap trying to demand a double team. If they're not going to double team him, your nose should have a big day. It's that simple because he should be one of your better players. So there's our base movement. Our next one is pinch. Pinch means those ends are now B-gap players. If they're in a movement that's not jacks, when they're moving that way, they should be attacking the V of the neck of the next man down from them. So they should be right through his neck, the V of the neck, playing up in that B-gap up until 1 yard deep. They do not want to go past 1 yard. They want to, hold their ground at 1 yard and start to chase the football, whether it's left or right. They need to play down the hill line and chase that football so we're not allowing any cutbacks and we're squeezing the hole at the same time. So it's very important that you coach them up never to go push up the field. Now, in the pass rush, which is another video, we want them to do that, but that's where the techniques change. Against the run, they got to play to a yard and get down the hill line to chase the football. So there's their pinch technique. So we got jacks, which they're C-gap responsible. We got pinch, where they're B-gap responsible. Our next one is open. Open and closed means we will slant to the open side. Now, there's no tight end here. He still has to aim for where that tight end's hip will be and probably get up the field and contain in this situation. They're going to attack the open side. He's going to attack the man's hip or V of his neck where he's moving to and get up in that gap. He'll get up in that gap. So there's open. Closed means we're going to move to the tight end. Attacking the V of the neck or the hip, however you want to use as an aiming point. We want to get our hands towards that man we're moving to and try to flatten out either way the ball's coming and restrict the run lanes. We want to try to make the ball spill to our either strong safeties or whatever alignment calls for, depending on formation. We want to spill it out to our force and contain players. So we're always trying to shut off everything on the inside. Now, when we're moving, we want to always make contact. The point of emphasis on this is you want to lead with the hands. You want to lead with your hands and keep your eyes through his eyes need to be aiming through at the V of the neck through the throat. We don't want the crown of our helmet coming over his chin. We need to get pad under pad and lift. Lift. We want to get our hands on people. We want to keep these offensive linemen from getting to our linebackers. If we don't do that, our defense is dead. This is a very tough position to play because it's the ultimate team position. You're trying to take on all the garbage so our linebackers could run free. So we want to get our hands on people. We want to play square. We want to be physical. We want to run after the football. Once it's not coming to us, we want to be able to get off and get the football. So techniques and our hand-to-hand combat stuff is very important. Now, in our system, we only teach a couple things. We're not going to rip. We're going to rip We're not going to teach swimming, spinning, all of that because you're giving up too much, in my opinion. We want to stay compact. We're either going to get into you, rip off you, or we're going to get into you. It's not so much a swim, but we're going to hit and just come right over and get up the field and stay square. It's chopping the stick, whatever you want to call it. We're not going to play too many games where we're going to give up pieces of our body so you can move us out the gap and open up the floodgates where they can part the seas on us. We want to play square. We're going to lead with our hands. We're going to be aggressive and get our hands on folks. This, like I said, is just the beginning of the multiple 50 stack. We talked about our overall philosophy of the defense. We talked about the interior three, the nose and two ends. We talked about alignments versus techniques, and we covered little coaching points I feel are important if an odd structured defense is the type of defense you're interested to. Until the next time,